Welcome to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm your host, Nate Tanner. On this show, we use the Triggator philosophy to help you build a spending plan that fits your life, build your savings and investments, and knock out debt with confidence. And today, we're diving into the S side of the Triggator triangle, save. But not just any kind of saving, we're talking about safer savings, a method that helps you build financial security without the spreadsheets-induced panic attack. Because let's be real, most people don't save because they don't know where to start, or they try to save for everything all at once and end up saving for nothing, or they think that savings means sacrificing every ounce of joy in their life. But what if saving could feel doable, strategic, and even a little fun? That's what this episode is all about. We'll break down what SAFER stands for and how it can completely change your savings game. We'll talk about how to build an emergency fund without spiraling into fear, how to save for fun things. Yes, you're allowed to go on vacation, and how to know when it's time to shift from peace of mind funds to wealth funds. Because saving isn't about restriction, it's about readiness. And when you lead your money with clarity, your savings don't just grow, they start working for you. So grab your favorite drink, your notebook, and your Triggator app if you're one of the lucky beta testers, and let's get into it. Meet SAFER, your new savings superpower. Let's be honest, saving money can feel like trying to fold a fitted sheet. You know it's important, you know it's possible, but somehow it always ends up in frustration and a crumpled mess. We've all been told to save, and what usually happens? We get really motivated for about 30 seconds, stash some money away, and start feeling good. But then, life, it sneaks in. One night, we don't feel like cooking. Then there's that once-in-a-lifetime deal on Amazon that somehow happens every week. Or maybe we just feel that margin in our account burning a hole into our pocket. And before you know it, those savings, they're gone. Here's the problem. That money wasn't assigned to anything. It wasn't anchored. It wasn't purposeful. And when savings is vague, it's vulnerable. We lose focus and it disappears. That's why today we're introducing a new way to think about saving, one that's simple, strategic, and actually doable. And no, it's not just a clever acronym, although it is pretty clever. It's a mindset shift, a saving system, a way to stop guessing and start growing. So what does SAFER stand for? S, save for. A, alligators. F, fun. E, emergencies. R, retirement. Let's break that down. Alligators. They are those sneaky, non-monthly expenses that love to bite your budget when you least expect it. Think car repairs, school fees, holiday travel, birthday gifts, sports registrations. They're not emergencies, but they're not optional either. And if you don't plan for them, they'll drag you back into debt faster than you can say unexpected vet bill. Fun. This is exactly what it sounds like. Vacations, concerts, that new couch you've been eyeing. Saving for fun isn't irresponsible. It's intentional. It's how you enjoy life without sabotaging your future. Emergencies are the big ones. Job loss, medical bills, a busted water heater in the middle of January. These are the moments when your emergency fund becomes your financial life raft. And if you don't have one yet, don't panic. We'll talk about how to build one without freaking out. Retirement. This is your future self's paycheck. It's the long game. And while we don't go all in on retirement savings until your peace of mind funds are solid, it's still a part of the plan. Because one day you'll want to stop working, and your savings will be the reason that you can. Here's the beauty of SAFER. It gives your savings a purpose. Instead of just putting money aside, you're assigning it, you're leading it, you're telling it exactly where to go and why. And when you do that, you stop feeling overwhelmed and start feeling in control. In the next section, we're going to zoom in on a couple of the letters. A for alligators, and F for fun. And we'll show you how to build savings that protect your progress and make room for joy. Because saving shouldn't feel like punishment. It should feel like peace. Alligators and fun, saving for the predictable and the joyful. Let's start with alligators. Alligator expenses are the budget busters that don't show up every month. But when they do, they hit hard. These are the, oh yeah, I forgot about that. These are things like your kid's soccer registration, the annual car insurance premium, the holiday travel, or the birthday gift that you swore you'd plan for this year. These are not emergencies. They're not surprises. They're just irregular. And if you don't plan for them, they'll sneak up, chomp through your spending plan, and leave you wondering where your savings went. And here's the kicker. Most people aren't ready for them. According to a 2024 report from the Financial Health Network, only 42% of Americans have enough savings to cover 3 months of expenses. This means the majority are one alligator away from financial stress. So how do you stay ahead of the bite? You feed the gators every paycheck. Start by scanning your last 12 months. What popped up that wasn't part of your regular monthly spending? Make a list. Then estimate what you'll need for each item over the next year. Divide that by the number of paychecks between now and then. And that's your alligator fund assignment. Keep it in a separate savings account. Label it. Protect it. And when the alligator shows up, you're ready. Now let's talk about something a little more fun, literally. Fun Fund. It's your permission slip to enjoy life without guilt. Because saving isn't just about emergencies and retirement. It's also about joy. It's about that weekend getaway, that concert with your best friend, that new couch that doesn't squeak every time you sit down. When you save for fun, you're not being irresponsible. You're being intentional. You're saying, I want to enjoy life. I want to do it without sabotaging my future. As Zig Ziglar once said, money isn't the most important thing in life, but it's reasonably close to oxygen on the I gotta have it scale. And when you save for fun, you're giving yourself breathing room to enjoy life without gasping for air later. So assign a portion of each paycheck to your fun fund. Even if it's just $10, the amount doesn't matter, the habit does. And here's the bonus. When you save for fun, you actually enjoy it more because you're not feeling guilty. You're not wondering if you should have used that money for bills. You're not dreading the credit card statement. You're just enjoying. So whether it's alligators or amusement, the key is the same. Assign it, name it, fund it. Because when your savings has purpose, it has power. In the next section, we'll tackle the big one, emergency funds. How to build them without panic, how much you really need, and how to keep them from turning into your personal ATM. Emergency funds, your financial life raft, not your personal ATM. Let's talk about the E in SAFER, emergency fund. Now, I know what you're thinking. Nate, I've heard this before. Everyone says I need an emergency fund. And you're right. But most people either don't have one or they have one that's more like a leaky bucket than a life raft. So let's fix that. Because your emergency fund isn't just a savings account. It's your financial oxygen mask. Look, when a true emergency happens, you have two problems. First, the emergency itself. That's enough stress. You don't want to add the second problem, the financial one. When an emergency hits, the stress is real. So let's eliminate that second part of the problem. Your emergency fund, it's the buffer between you and financial panic. And here's the truth. If you don't have an emergency fund, you're not budgeting, you're gambling. Why emergency funds matter. According to the Federal Reserve's 2024 Economic Well-Being Report, 37% of U.S. adults say they would have difficulty covering a $400 emergency expense without borrowing or selling something. Think about that. That's over 1/3 of the population living one emergency away from financial disaster. And it's not because people are lazy or irresponsible. It's because life is unpredictable. And most budgets are built around the ideal month, not the real one. That's where your emergency fund comes in. It's not for alligator expenses. We've covered those in the last section. It's not for vacations or new couches. It's for the stuff you can't see coming. A job loss, medical emergencies, major home repairs, emergency travel, that moment when your water heater explodes the night before Thanksgiving. These aren't if moments, they're when moments. And when they happen, your emergency fund becomes your peace of mind. How much should you save? Let's break it down into stages, because building an emergency fund, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens one paycheck at a time. Here's the Triggator path. First, $500 starter fund. This is your sleep at night fund. This is your getting ahead of almost 2/3 of the population fund. It's not enough to cover everything, but it's enough to stop the bleeding. It's enough to keep you from reaching for the credit card when your tire blows or your kid needs stitches. Second, the $1,000 buffer. Once you hit $500, keep going. $1,000 gives you breathing room. It's the difference between I'm stressed and I've got this. Third, 1 month of expenses. This is where things get serious. Add up your essential monthly costs: housing, food, utilities, transportation, insurance. That's your target. Fourth, 3 months of expenses. Now you're building real security. If you lost your job tomorrow, this fund would give you time to breathe, regroup, and make decisions from clarity, not desperation. Fifth, 6 months of expenses. This is the gold standard. This is not just a cushion, it's a fortress. It's giving you the freedom to walk away from a toxic job, take a career risk, or weather a storm without losing sleep. And here's the key. Don't get overwhelmed by the big number. Focus on the next milestone, the next step, then the next, then the next. Because every dollar you add is a dollar of peace. Where should you keep it? Your emergency fund needs to be a few things. It needs to be accessible. You need to be able to get at it quickly in a real emergency. It needs to be separate. Don't mix it in your checking account or your alligator fund. It needs to be boring. This is not investment money. It's not supposed to grow. It's supposed to be there when you need it most. A high-yield savings account is perfect. It earns a little interest, but more importantly, it's out of sight and out of swipe range. What it's not for. Let's be clear, your emergency fund is not your personal ATM. It's not for concert tickets, last-minute vacations, retail therapy, upgrading your phone because the new one has a slightly better camera. If you dip into your emergency fund for non-emergencies, you're not saving, you're stalling. So how do you protect it? Set a rule. If it's not urgent, unexpected, and necessary, it's not an emergency. And if you decide to use it because life does happen, make a plan to refill it. Treat it like a bill on your spending plan because your peace of mind is worth paying for. Here's the mindset shift. Here's the real power of an emergency fund. It changes how you think. When you have one, you stop living in fear. You stop reacting and you start leading. You make decisions from a place of strength, not stress. You don't have to say yes to every opportunity out of desperation. You don't have to stay in a bad situation because you're broke. You don't have to panic when life throws you a curveball. You just breathe and you handle it. That's leadership. That's clarity. That's what we're building. A real life example, the furnace fiasco. Let me tell you a quick story. Someone I once worked with a while ago, we'll call him Jordan. Well, his furnace went out on Christmas Eve. The repair, $1,800. Old Jordan, he would have panicked, reached for the credit card, and spent the next 6 months paying off with interest. But this time, the new Jordan, he had a fully funded emergency fund. He paid the bill. He slept in a warm house, and he didn't lose a minute of holiday peace. That's the power of preparation. Your next step. If you don't have an emergency fund yet, start today. Even if it's just $20, even if it's just a jar labeled peace of mind. Because when you lead your money with purpose, it starts showing up for you. And when life happens, and it will, you'll be ready. In the next section, we'll talk about the final piece of the safer puzzle, retirement, how to save for it, when to prioritize it, and how to make sure your future self sends you a thank you card. Retirement. Start small, start now, and let time do the heavy lifting. Let's talk about the R in safer, retirement. Now, before you hit skip or start thinking, Nate, I'm just trying to make it to Friday, hang in there with me, because this section isn't about guilt. It's about hope. It's about showing you that no matter where you're starting from or how late you feel, you can still build something meaningful for your future. And it starts with one truth. Time is your best ally. Not income, not investment knowledge, not even discipline. Time. Because when it comes to retirement savings, the earlier you start, even with small amounts, the more powerful your money becomes. Let me show you what I mean. Let's compare two people. Saver A starts investing $100 a month at age 30 and keeps going for 30 years. Saver B waits until age 50, then invests $500 a month for 10 years. Both earn an 8% annual return. At the end of their respective timelines, Saver A ends up with about $150,000. Saver B ends up with about $91,000. Their total contribution, Saver A, $36,000. Saver B, $60,000. But Saver A, who invested less money, ends up with over $57,000 more. Why? Because time did the heavy lifting. Compound interest had more time to work its magic. That's why I always say, start now, even if it's small. You don't have to wait until you're debt-free. This is a big one. A lot of people think they have to wait until they're completely debt-free to start saving for retirement. And while I get the logic, I'll free up more money for later. Here's the problem. Later reduces the time. So here's the Triggator approach. While you're paying off debt, contribute something to retirement, even if it's just enough to get your employer match, even if it's just $25 a paycheck. Once your peace of mind funds are solid and your debt is gone, then go all in. Maximize your contributions. Let those dollars become managers and start hiring more dollars. Because retirement isn't an age, it's a number. The sooner you start building towards it, the sooner you get to choose when and how you work. For those in survival mode. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, Nate, I'm in financial survival mode. I can't even think about retirement right now. I hear you. And I want you to know, it's okay. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're building. And even if you can't contribute right now, you can still prepare. Learn about retirement accounts, your 401k at work, Roth IRAs, all of those different plans. Know what your employer offers. Even if you're in that survival job, see what they have. Set a reminder to revisit when your situation improves. You're not going to be in survival mode forever. Be ready for when you exit. Because when you're ready to move from survive to thrive, and we're going to talk about that in an upcoming episode, you'll already know what to do. Where to start. If you're ready to start saving for retirement, here's your game plan. Check your employer match. If your job offers 401k match, contribute enough to get the full match. That is free money. Don't leave it on the table. Open a Roth IRA. If you're eligible, a Roth IRA is a great tool. You contribute after-tax dollars and your money grows tax-free. That means when you retire, you don't owe Uncle Sam a dime on those withdrawals. Automate it. Set up automatic contributions. Again, even if it's just $25 a paycheck, make it a habit. Let it run in the background while you focus on your other goals. Increase over time. Every time you get a raise, increase your contribution. Even 1% makes a difference. For a long time, I took every bit of the raises that I received and put them into my retirement because I learned that I can live on a certain amount. When I get a raise, rather than doing lifestyle creep, I put it to my future. Don't panic when the market dips. Retirement investing is a long game. The market will go up and it will go down. Stay on course. Keep contributing. Let time and compound interest do their thing. I want to add one little note here because there's been a lot of volatility in the market recently. And if you've watched it, you have seen that if you didn't sell and pull out of the market, it is now recovered and you are back to a good spot. So again, don't panic when it dips. This is your long game. This is your plan. Stick to it. Let things happen and it will turn out. Some real life encouragement. A listener named Clara shared this with me. She said, I didn't start saving for retirement until I was 47. I felt embarrassed. But when I started with $50 a month, then $100, then $200, now I'm 55 and I've got over $40,000 saved. It's not millions, but it's mine and it's growing. That's the mindset. That's the mission. Let's quickly talk about the Gandalf principle. Remember in Lord of the Rings when Frodo says, I wish it need not have happened in my time. And Gandalf replies, so do all who live in such times, but that's not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what we do with the time that is given us. That's retirement savings in a nutshell. You can't change the fact you didn't start 10 years ago. You can't control what you didn't know, but you can decide what you do with the time you have now. And that decision, that's where the power is. Build your triangle, accelerate when you're ready. If you're starting late, don't let that stop you. Start now. Build your Triggator triangle. Budget, save, pay off debt. Get your peace of mind funds in place. Knock out your debt. And when you do, you'll be in the perfect position to accelerate your retirement savings to their highest potential. Because when you're debt-free, every dollar you used to send to creditors becomes a builder, a multiplier, a freedom fund. And if you're starting at 55 instead of 25, it's not too late. You still have time. You still have purpose. You still have power. A final thought. Retirement isn't about being rich. It's about being ready. It's about building a future where you get to choose how you spend your time, not how your bills spend it for you. So whether you're 25 or 65, whether you're starting with $10 or $1,000, start. Start small, start now, and let time do the heavy lifting. Because when you lead your money with purpose, your future self will thank you. You've made it to the end of Safer Savings. And if you're still here, you're not just thinking about saving, you're ready to lead your money with purpose. We've talked about how to stop vague savings and start assigning your dollars with clarity using the Safer method. Save for alligators, those sneaky non-monthly expenses that love to bite. Fun, because joy is part of the journey. Emergencies, your financial oxygen mask. Retirement, because time is your best ally and it's never too late to start. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be purposeful. And when you lead your money with clarity, it doesn't just behave, it builds. Today's challenge is a simple one. Assign $1. Pick a category from Safer, Alligator, Fun, Emergency, or Retirement, and move $1 towards it. Just one. Because it's not about the amount, it's about the action. It's about starting that momentum. That dollar, it's a declaration. You're saying, I'm not waiting for perfect, I'm starting now. Let's keep the conversation going. If you've got a savings win, a new rhythm that's working for you, or a budgeting oops that turned into a breakthrough, email me at podcast@Triggator.com or message me on Instagram, Facebook, or X at Triggator. If this episode helped you, follow the show because your podcast queue deserves a peace of mind fund too. Leave a review, especially if this episode helped you finally tell your alligator expense to sit down and behave. Share this episode with a friend who thinks saving for fun means waiting for BOGO at Taco Bell. Follow at Triggator on social media for tips, encouragement, and memes that won't raid your emergency fund. Coming up next time, from survive to thrive, the plan when you're in financial survival mode. If you're in crisis mode, this one is for you. We'll talk about how to stabilize your finances using the Triggator triangle. Starting with clarity, not shame, you'll learn how to identify survival mode and why it's not failure, it's feedback. How to prioritize the 4 walls: food, shelter, transportation, utilities, and how to build a micro plan that works for 3 days, 7 days, or 1 paycheck at a time. Because even in survival mode, you can find hope, and we'll show you how. Remember, saving isn't about restriction, it's about readiness. You don't have to wait until you're debt-free. You don't have to wait until you're, quote, good with money. You just have to start. Start small, start now, and let time do the heavy lifting. Thanks for listening to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm your host, Nate Tanner. See you next time.